I woke up in the middle of the night and I was hovering over my bed, and I was trying to scream, but obviously nothing was coming out, and I saw these big gigantic eyes, and it was, one of the grays, and I looked outside, I saw light shining through the window, and I was trying to fight, and they disappeared. I dropped to the bed, I ran to the window, and I saw a ship, and then I saw it go take off. And I ran down to tell my mom, and my mom says, "Don't worry about it, let's go back to bed."
I had my first encounter with a tall, white alien. He looked like he had rubber frog legs. I could see all the tendons and all that. And had 3 digits, suckers at the end. And this is while I was living with my grandma and walking into my bedroom. I was going to go towards the closet, and I see this big thing. It looked like over 7 feet tall, and outside the window I saw the traditional flying disc whirring. And all you hear is like a whir, a soft, quiet hum. And
I guess I want to understand, I want to understand what the point is. Like, are they protecting us? Are they studying us?
Okay,
are they? What is the?
Well, there's good extraterrestrial and bad extraterrestrials, and it was hard. I didn't remember a lot of what happened to me as a young kid, but I do remember, bits and pieces. When I was 3 years old, I remember seeing extraterrestrials then, and then when I was 7, I had my near-death experience, and I was actually, when I was 3 months old, I felt like I was being strangled, and the extraterrestrials came, pulled me out of her body, had to strengthen me and fix me because she was getting ready to abort me too. I got put in all these special classes and things like that, and I also did a lot of testing being done. And I was also put into the GATE program. And for anybody that doesn't know, the GATE program I didn't want to stop you, but I wanted to ask. Yeah. So the GATE program is basically gifted and talented program, but it's a little shadier than that. What they do is they take these gifted and talented kids and they start testing them. If anybody has had that little pink drink, had the hearing test, when you hear this voice, la 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 la, that you were probably being tested for the GATE program.
I was in a gifted program when I was a child because I was way out of my grade level, Yep. And so I used to tutor the lower grades and all that, even when I was in 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and they always just called it the gifted program. I went through all that testing too, all kinds of weird tests all the time. It was strange, and I was never in my classroom. When I think back, I remember being taken out of my classroom all the time and being in different places all the time. Was that what I was in? This time on Beyond Numerology, I'm sitting down with Patricia and Verohnika, better known as the Psychicks. And I can honestly say that this one is one of the most mind-bending conversations we've ever had. Between the two of them, they say they've experienced near-death awakenings, psychic abilities from childhood, extraterrestrial encounters, and decades of exploring consciousness far beyond what most people think is possible. In this conversation, we dive into everything from the GATE program and missing time to galactic beings, shapeshifters, frequency healing, and what they believe is really happening behind the scenes of our reality. Whether you agree with everything they share or not, one thing is certain. This conversation will make you question what's possible. So without making you wait any longer, let's get into it. Welcome to Beyond Numerology. I'm Tammy Lopresti, the creator of Cosmic Ascended Numerology, a rare and super accurate way of decoding who you are and why you're here. If you're new around here, I'm so glad you found us. And if you've been in my world for a while, then you already know that I don't do numerology like everyone else. Think of this podcast as your weekly spiritual hangout. a place where we dive into your soul's plan, uncover what you came here to learn, understand, and experience, and help you wake back up to the you that you came here to be. Every Friday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we record new episodes on Zoom and invite a live audience to hang out with us. This is your chance to be in the room while we chat with our guest of the week, do mini numerology readings, and enjoy occasional psychic insights from our guests. Whether it's card pulls, spirit guide messages, messages from loved ones on the other side, or other surprises that they might bring. Want the VIP experience? Stick around for the after show where you can hang out with me and the guest of the week to answer your own questions and get a behind-the-scenes look at the magic happening live. It's always fresh, always different, and always a good time. So whether you're tuning in live or catching the replay, welcome. I'm so happy you're here, and I have a feeling you're going to love it. Now let's go beyond numerology, because your soul's plan starts right now. So hi everybody, I'm glad that you guys are here. So today we have the Psychicks. How do you say that?
The Psychicks.
Okay,
Yeah.
So today we have the Psychicks with us, Patricia and Verohnika. I am so incredibly excited for this conversation. We've already gotten started on our conversation and can't stop. So like it was hard to even start the episode because I just want to talk. I just wanted to keep talking to you already. So yeah, so this is going to be a great one. I'm so glad that you guys have joined us. And okay, so how about we start with you guys telling everybody like who you are and maybe a little bit about yourself, because I know there's a lot, so let's start there.
Okay, well, I'm Verohnika. I am the 8th generation on both sides of my family that have this gift, well, one among many gifts. My mom was Rh negative. We'll start from there. So before she hit her 3rd month of pregnancy with me, her body did try to abort me 3 different times. The
Wow.
second time, going back a little bit further, my mom slipped and fell sitting up. So I turned myself breech. I was so like, I'm not leaving anytime soon. So I hung on. And come the 3rd month, she felt contractions. And her body was ready just to push me out. And she said the only reason why I was still there is because I didn't feel like leaving. She said she tried to evict me. Well, her body tried to evict me and it didn't work. So fast forward, had my first extraterrestrial, or now they call themselves galactic inclusion. That's the word I was given a few months ago. So basically I had my first encounter with a tall white alien. He looked like he had rubber frog legs. I could see all the tendons and all that, and had 3 digits, suckers at the end. And this is while I was living with my grandma, because both of my parents had immigrated here to San Francisco in California. And walking into my bedroom, I was going to go towards the closet, and I see this big thing. It looked like over 7 feet tall, and outside the window I saw the traditional flying disc whirring. All you hear is like a whir, a soft quiet hum, and that's it. And then
that was in Peru.
That's when my grandmother, who's Peruvian, that's the side of my mom's side of the family that has a long line of Eastern European seers. And on my dad's side also, my grandfather, my mom's dad, Chinese from Canton, came from the Royal Imperial family. And on that side too, a lot of seers toward the Royal Imperial Court. I traced back my lineage all the way back to Genghis Khan. Turned out my grandfather, hearing stories, when you listen to certain things, you kind of do homework. So my mom had told me once when I was around 8 or 9 that my grandfather had changed his last name because in Spanish it was very hard to pronounce, because he spoke very little Spanish when he immigrated to Peru. So he changed it to Kam, C-A-M, from Khan, K-H-A-N. So yeah, so I've carried that with me. I've been practicing Feng Shui and just everything Asian philosophy, from reading auras. It's like all this came in or around the time I had my first NDE, which is around 8 years old. I fell off a wall trying to get a ball off the next door neighbor's roof, and the last thing I remember was hitting the back of my head when I hit the ground. And I saw myself floating. I saw EMS there, and I heard myself tell EMS, don't tell my mom because I'm going to get in trouble. I was only 8 years old. And then I saw myself floating through the skies. It was like Technicolor, and it was a perfect 73 degrees. And I was greeted by an angel. That's where I found out they're not just male or female, they're both sexes, unisexual. And I could not see the face, but it was so bright. The vibration for angel beings are so fast that you cannot see their face. I couldn't see their face. And then I was greeted by God. He had a long beard, long robe, and a big pot belly. And to an 8-year-old, that's what God, I was a Catholic at that point. So I'm a recovering Catholic also, as is Patty. So he told me that my mission was not done, and I wanted to stay out there because I was going through so many issues. I was being molested by the neighbors. My dad was drinking a lot, very abusive emotionally, physically. My mom was he was a typical blue collar, he's still alive, but it was a typical blue collar Latino family where he's the man, and you know, everybody has to do what he says, very controlling, obviously. And then the next thing I knew, I was telling him, no, I want to stay. I'm going down this round spiral, and it was getting darker and darker and darker, and when I wake up, I feel myself land on something soft, and I wake up and it's in the hospital. I was back in my body. So I came back very different. My grades shot up. I could hear things, I could see things. I started getting glimpses of the void. It's something that's not talked a lot about, but Native American rituals and histories and oral tradition do talk about it. And it's basically the anti-space, where it's a negative space, literally, and it's what calls light workers to either commit suicide, to go in. It's kind of like a purgatory, spiritually speaking. So that's always it was following me up until 12. Because then, you know, when you get to be 12, you get other pursuits, and I was reading a lot and having friends and all that, and then just having a lot of prophetic visions by the time I was 14 or 15. And then going into 22, I had my second NDE, and my gifts just blew up even more. Had prophetic visions. I was able to confirm 3 of the ones that I remember, because everything else is a blur. I really don't remember my childhood. About 90% of it is a blur, which they say happens when there's a shift in frequency. And what I have seen in the last 5 to 7 years is when there's a shift in time and space, I actually see it. Just like for me, the movies were a big educating factor for me. So I see the waves. They're like sound waves, but I could actually see it, so I know when things are moving. There's a lot of the simulation is breaking down. I was actually tested 4 times for the GATE program from the free hearing test in California. And on a more specific note, we actually lived right across the street from Northrop government facility in Hawthorne, California during the 80s, where they did from DARPA to HARP. They tested the newest planes. And they also, it was around the time that Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier also. So I was tested. It was a whole like military base and houses. That's how it was set up a lot of the time. So you have a lot of the Area 51 type of things. And I would hear from whispers. And I did get tested twice by a child psychologist because I was very withdrawn with all the things I was seeing. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to hear anything. I didn't want to talk to my parents. Yeah. And basically, yeah, and my life has always been to help people. I was able to hear what their spirit would say versus what they were telling me, you know, out of their mouth. And artistically, my gifts were very amplified after my first NDE. So fast forward to now, I've always loved to draw and paint, but now I started channeling frequency drawings back about 3 or 4 years ago. And when it comes, I just start drawing, and they tell me what it is. I also have experienced ayahuasca once, and after that I could see in the in-between. I see when I saw the extraterrestrial, the alien that was actually taking notes and observing me. I actually got to see the 3 that were spying on her that night that we did ayahuasca. I got to see in the visions about 2 to 3 weeks afterward where they come into the intra-dimensions. In between the dimensions, between the dimension. It's like a folding sandwich, pretty much.
They come in our house a lot.
Yeah, they come in our house. They think we can't see them, but I also developed a gift, or a very big, it's a big deal to them because they try not to come around when I'm around, especially when they abduct her, which is still going on. I can see where they're at and locate where they're at. So it's kind of, it sounds tutti frutti, but it's why, and then you learn to live with it. I was like, oh, it's them again. So they love our bathroom, they love our closets,
They like to hide behind the curtains.
they love our garage. We have a few gremlins that come in and out of our garage, and they try to knock things over, but then I tell them, hey, that's enough, I need to go to sleep. So they stop. There's all throughout my life I've seen demonic activity. They've tried to attack me, they've tried to attack others that are my friends. I did my first solo, what they used to call exorcism, by myself, rooming with somebody that was a total portal to allow a lot of that negative stuff in, and I pushed that demon out. I thought she was faking it because she was bipolar, wasn't taking her medication. And then I put the cross, a crucifix on her forehead, and it started to swell, and her eyes turned all black.
Oh
And yes, and I've also gone against reptiles. One of my ex-bosses was a reptile, and in 2 of our lectures that we did on alien impregnations, DNA swapping, that sort of thing, 2 separate ones, they had sent in somebody that looked like a human, had a human mask, but with that ayahuasca experience, I'm able to see beyond the mask. So they're horrific. They're not like E.T. all cute riding a bike. They're like really, they got really so pissed off that we were talking about. Because that's one of the experiences that now I feel more liberated to talk about, which is being impregnated around, I would say, 34 or 35. And I knew within 36 hours that it was gone. I felt this sadness. And I've seen my oldest daughter. I already had the name picked out, Catherine. And she's up there. That's hybrid. It's what they explained to me is that the reason they did that with me is so that my daughter can have the gifts that it's going to take me a lifetime to reach the other gifts. But that she has the spirit of being human and also having compassion, because that's one big key gene that they're lacking, because they're seen as ice cold. They just don't have that reasoning as to why there's feelings involved. So other than that, just continuing the work of being in service of helping others, and just being careful with what I put out there in the universe about asking for stuff. You know, I recently asked, after talking to my boss, you know, I want things to make me happy, so I go back to my desk, and what makes me the happiest is helping people. So if you could send some people my way, that would be great.
Oh no, don't ever ask that.
You know,
I made that mistake before.
Less than 2 hours later, it's been a positive response. So, somebody that co-worker that was second round of cancer chemo and called me because before he left on his extended vacation, I was talking about alternatives, you know, things to help keep the body alkaline, so on and so forth. So he called back to find out what that is. That's the first one. And then we have a next door neighbor that's going through a really rough divorce, and helped her with that. And then we've had quite a few people too. So just be careful what you ask for, but just keep it positive and light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Wow. Okay. I have 100 questions. um, like, I don't even know where to start with questions. So I think I'm going to just let that all settle for a second.
Digestion.
And
And you haven't even heard my half.
I was gonna say, and then I'm gonna let you tell your story, and then we'll go to questions because I think my brain needs to process a little bit. That was a lot, but really like so freaking interesting. So interesting. So cool. Also, sorry, Patrick. I just didn't want to interrupt her. Thank you, Suzanne. You're awesome. So yeah, hopefully everyone can see both cameras now. Okay. So let's hear your story now.
I'm Patricia,
Hi,
and
Patricia.
I'm the other half of the Psychicks.
Yes.
So I had my first experience with extraterrestrials. I'm also RH negative, and if anybody's not aware of this, RH negative is a blood type, factor of your blood type, and if you're RH negative, that means you basically aren't from here because there's absolutely no link to RH negative blood on this planet. And after experiencing most of my life, I would venture to say yes, that's true. I've my mom, she was very, very tied to this world as far as she was a great seer. She had all sorts of visions, but she was scared to death of it. And she said she used to have dreams that would rival, Night Gallery. And so she stayed away from as much as she can. And I embraced it from the beginning. When I found out later in a regression of mine that when I was 3 months old, I actually had been taking, I felt like I was being strangled. And the extraterrestrials came, pulled me out of her body, had to strengthen me and fix me because she was getting ready to abort me too.
Wow.
And she had 6 miscarriages. And
Wow.
yeah, so she was having, because my dad was RH positive, and so she ended up having me. It was a very strenuous birth, but during that time, I really had no idea. It was hard. I didn't remember a lot of what happened to me as a young kid, but I do remember, bits and pieces. When I was 3 years old, I remember seeing extraterrestrials then. And then when I was 7, I had my near-death experience, and I was actually killed by a smallpox jab.
Oh, wow.
And they managed to bring me back. But like she had said, when you come back, well, first of all, when I went up, it was like I was going through this tunnel, like this light, and I saw, it was weird because I saw like hawks and eagles and different animals, panthers and jaguars and things like that, and then it was funny because then I got caught by a Native American chief when I got there, which I thought was really strange because, but I was 7 years old, and I found out later that I have Blackfoot in me. Native American Blackfoot. I also have some Mayan blood in me, and so that made a lot of sense at that point. But when you're up there and you die, you don't want to come back. You don't. It's such an overwhelming love, feeling of love. And they said, well, you're not. I did meet what I perceived as God, and he told me that you need to go back. You're not done yet. And I said, I don't want to go back. But of course, he says, you need to help people. You need to go, do things. And so I came back down. I woke up in a tub full of ice because my fever was over 107.
Wow.
And they shocked me back, and I got zapped. And before they did that, and but when I came back, like her, I came back a lot smarter. And I was, for some reason, I was a lot neater and cleaner. My mom was thrilled about that.
Yeah, I bet.
And I started asking all these questions, and my mom, she was getting crazy with all the questions I asked, because I never stopped asking questions. And she finally got me all these encyclopedia books. And when I finally got into kindergarten, they started testing me. And I was testing at a senior in high school. I was doing senior in high school math because my mom was constantly giving me books. So they wanted to jump me up grades, but my mom didn't want me to do that because she didn't think that, yes, I was smart enough, but physically I wasn't an adult yet.
Yeah.
And so I got put in all these special classes and things like that. And I also did a lot of testing being done, and I was also put into the GATE program.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody that doesn't know, the GATE program
I didn't want to stop you, but I wanted to ask you that so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so go.
It might be because I'm psychic. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, you might have sensed that I'm like, please tell me what that is.
Okay, so the GATE program is basically
The gifted and
talented program, but it's a little shadier than that, because what they do is they take these gifted and talented kids and they start testing them. If anybody has had that little pink drink, had the hearing test, when you hear this voice, la 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 la, that you were probably being tested for the GATE program.
So
And they usually
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're fine.
I was in a gifted program when I was a child because I was way out of my, grade level,
Yep.
And so I used to tutor like the lower grades and all that, even when I was in first grade, second grade, third grade. And they always just called it the gifted program, but I went through all that testing too. Like I went through all kinds of weird tests all the time.
Yeah.
Like it was strange, and I was never in my classroom. Like when I think back, I remember being taken out of my classroom all the time and like being in different places all the time.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to ask you so bad. I'm like, was that what I was in? Like,
Yes.
is that
Yeah,
possible?
definitely.
That's exactly what you were in. Because people, kids like us that, again, we're highly intelligent. We see things, we hear things, and that's the other thing. I was walking around talking to dead people and everything when I came back. And I didn't think about it till actually more recently that my mom knew it, because she was that way. And I have a feeling she was in that too. And I think that's why she stopped me from being advanced, because she knew what they do to kids. And unfortunately, the GATE program is not a very friendly program, because they do a lot of testing, but they also, experiment on the kids to see if they can crack them open and make them even more so. And by the time I was, I think it was like 13, I went into a special program when I went into high school. And it was only like 5 or 6 of us in there. And they said, oh, we're going to take you on all these fantastic trips that no one else gets to do. We're going to take you into law rooms. We're going to take you into surgeries and all this stuff. But it was test after test after, all these crazy tests, and a lot of blank stuff where you don't remember what you did there.
That's what I have. I remember going into rooms and not knowing what happened after that. And just like a lot of like weird, vague memories of like people holding my hand and saying, come on, let's go here, or let's do this. And they were always telling me how smart I was, and how like they were always like building me up. Like they were always like, you're so smart and you're so talented, and we just need your help. And they would like treat me like I was really special. When I got older, I didn't like that. Like I was lucky because I moved around a lot, so I don't think that this followed me everywhere I went. But
it's harder to keep track.
I actually started pretending I was stupid at some point, like really dumb, and that's what got me out of all of this.
Well, what you may not realize at this point is they did a lot of things to us that wasn't very nice. And one of the things is a lot of people who have been put in this program can't stand water in their face, because what they were doing to kids is waterboarding them. And the reason they were doing it was, again, try to break them, fracture their
Their
consciousness
psyche.
and their psyche to manipulate them and mold them for what they want them for. So it's not a real good thing. And the other thing is, I found out later that I started having all these crazy dreams and everything. And I was being followed. I felt like I was being tracked, and I was. And I found out that later by different people. And every time I went somewhere, I've had 2 attempted kidnappings when I was young.
Yeah.
And luckily I was street smart enough. I grew up in Chicago that I took off. I just knew.
That's good.
But I had been pulled into what they call the secret space program. And
Yeah,
the super
this I
soldier.
wanted to hear about too.
Yeah, and I was in for 2 terms when I was younger. I do remember at one point I was on some other planet, and I literally got my leg blown off, and I was running across a desert planet. I had one of these guns that were like, they had
Wow.
like rays that would shoot out of it. Really strange stuff, and I remember other things, but what they do is once they do it, then they'll pop you in like a med bed type thing, which is something that they're supposed to bring out, but they've yet to bring out. Some people might recognize it, but it's like a frequency healer, and they could pop you in, heal you, and then send you back out. And the thing, they keep you in for 20 years, and then, but since there's no such thing as time.
Yeah.
You're in for 20 years on one stint, and then they bring you back, but you're only gone for minutes in our timeline.
Wow.
And I remember when I was younger, I went out for 2 separate ones. And the funny thing is I kept on being put in different jobs that I wasn't necessarily qualified for, but they all had to do with the military or the government. Yeah, Masons.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but I don't know if we could talk about that stuff.
No, you can talk about anything.
Okay, so
you know.
I believe that I was followed by Masons. Masons, the really high level ones were
Like
not that
Freemason, like
yeah,
things that
the
we hear
Illuminati
about.
kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I don't know a lot about that, but yeah, I
Yeah.
understand what that is. Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I was getting hired into places that were just too coincidental, and
Yeah.
I had people trying to teach me things that were related to that kind of thing. And honestly, I think just recently, yeah, because I think they wanted me to go to their side rather than my side. I've had quite a few attempts on my life, different things, which were kind of crazy. And then just people, I've been approached by in 2 different jobs. I had a job that I worked at the post office. I quit it because I thought I'd had enough. And then I went to take a job, and I just happened to get a job at the Veterans Administration. And the way I got the job was very weird, because it was actually a position that was closed, but I applied for it anyway because a guy just happened to pop up in a place I was looking for a job. And he says, "Why don't you try this?" Okay. Because I'd worked at a government position before. I said, okay, but it had already been closed, but I thought I'll put it in. And I got a letter in the mail said I was, denied because the job was canceled. Half an hour later, I get a phone call. "Hey, could you come in for an interview?"
Oh, weird. Yeah.
And I worked with money in the post office, which was also another strange thing. I quit after 2 weeks working at the post office, because there's reasons I really do shoot people there.
Yeah.
And I had the postmaster banging on my door. He was one-armed. He had his post banging on my door saying, "You can't quit your job. Are you crazy?" And it's like, who does that?
Yeah, who should care that much?
But I think but all my life I worked with military, and I think they wanted to keep me in that military type environment, because I was military. But I said, "You're not military?" No, my mom, she was very powerful. I was going to be I wanted to be a cop, and my mom said no. I was in my 20s, and okay, I became an EMT. That I was able to do. But then I wanted to be a volunteer firefighter, because I wanted to do something to get out of the post office. I was going to be a volunteer firefighter. I scored really high, And I said, I'm going for my test tomorrow, Mom. And she is so powerful.
I tell you, no, you're not.
No, she said, no, you're not. And I said, yes, I am. And I broke my leg the day before playing football.
Oh my goodness.
And she says, no, you're not.
Wow.
You know, she didn't want me to have anything to do with that stuff. And it was crazy, the things she was able to do. But very powerful. Could manipulate stuff, but only when she got really angry.
Yeah.
And yes, but I've been able to see demons. I was in like demon training. I actually dated somebody who was possessed, and I didn't realize it at the time. And then I would try to sage them, and they'd literally run away and lock themselves in the room.
Oh
They wouldn't let me touch them. And then they showed themselves.
That's not a
to
good
me.
sign.
No, because their eyes turned black.
Yeah.
And they talk different, and they were banging their head up against the wall, and you know, if you don't stop it trying to get rid of me, I'm going to hurt her. And funny enough, you know, the thing that helps get rid of them is actually love.
Yeah.
I kept on saying, I love you, and that thing squirmed and made all this crazy, and then she passed out.
Wow.
And I managed to get rid of it. But then I found out, because she had been so abused as a kid, and this happens a lot to kids that have been abused, is they bring in attachments, because these attachments come in and say, I'll protect you. I'll protect you. And then they scare people, you know. So when you try to get rid of them when they're adults, and we've found this out because we've done exorcisms and things like that, and they tend to bring them right back in, and I'm like,
because
why?
they become their friends. Is that why?
They feel protected by them,
and they're not judged. This is what we've been told when we ask them why, because we're curious, you know.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, we feel protected. There's many people that, since the age, it seems to be around the age of 8 or 9. That seems to be a popular age for kids.
Wow.
That's when we're most exposed to so many things and aware our gifts are at its highest amplification time. And we don't, you know, it's like, okay, people will make choices, and it's choices on their own. We're not here to influence. That's just my personal take on things, and Patty, we're very aligned on that. And we're here to help. If they come in our path, we'll help. And then it's up to the person to continue that path.
To hold that frequency. We actually did a cacao ceremony. Now, cacao is a very mild version of...
Oh, that was memorable.
Yes, that was memorable.
You'll see why.
We did it with a friend of ours, Juanita Fleury. She's an excellent healer, and she'd probably be great for your podcast. And
Nice.
and it was just, we did it together. And it was fine. It was a nice meditation. You know, we went into deep meditation, did some work and stuff like that. So we figured, let's bring some people in. We brought some people in, and we had one other woman, Jessica, and she was a hypnotherapist, and she came in and she helped us a little bit. And what we didn't realize is our frequency was so high that when we did the cacao and went down into a meditation, that was forcing all these attachments out. So it was like we ended up doing 3 exorcisms in there. And it's so funny, Juanita's like, well, that's different. Oh my. She'd never experienced that before.
Yeah. Wow.
And we're like, oh man. So we managed to pull the stuff out, and 2 of the 3 managed to keep them out. So they're working on it.
Good.
But it was good. But going back to the extraterrestrials, because I know people like to hear about the extraterrestrials.
That's what I was gonna start asking you about.
My first experience was obviously when I was really young, but when I was about 7, 8 years old. Actually, I think it was right after I had the death experience, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was hovering over my bed, and I was trying to scream, but obviously nothing was coming out, and I saw these big gigantic eyes. And it was, you know, one of the grays. And I looked outside, I saw light shining through the window. And I was trying to fight, and they disappeared. I dropped to the bed. I ran to the window, and I saw a ship. And then I saw it go, take off.
Wow.
And they had obviously had taken me, and I'm not sure. Yeah, and they were dropping me off. And I ran downstairs to tell my mom, and I was telling my mom about it because I couldn't go back to sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd see the eyes. And I ran down to tell my mom, and my mom says, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just go back to bed. Just go back." Obviously, when I think about it now, she's obviously experienced the same thing, and you can't control it usually. And, you know, and it had happened, you know, throughout my whole life. And then when I got a little older, I'd seen one actually with some other people in the sky, but I'd keep on getting abducted. And at my post office job, I was actually a supervisor. They made me a supervisor after 6 months. I don't know if I was babysitting all the 60-year-old men, or because I was the only girl in there. I was the only woman in there, and I was like, okay, all right. But it was very militant, and you would, you know, watch people throw the mail, and you know, if they made a mistake, because I would go check, if they made mistakes, they had to go back into training and come back out. Yeah. And I kept on finding all these mistakes, but every once in a while, I would have to fill in if someone was short or something like that. And for the life of me, I couldn't find anybody making mistakes. And then there was one time where I was throwing mail. My case was full because you have like 50 different slots that you're throwing mail in. And I noticed the time on the wall, and I'm like, it's like I lost a half an hour somewhere, or about 40 minutes. And I thought it was really weird. And then I looked through my case, and I'm like, holy crap. I had thrown all this mail in, all these different things, but they were all wrong.
Oh, wow.
They had hijacked me.
Yeah. Put
someone else in my body, but obviously they did not know where to throw the mail.
Yeah. Wow.
And I've also had that happen quite a few times while I'm driving.
Oh, wow.
And I'd be driving and driving. I find myself an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. One time I was driving down the road. I was driving home from work, and one of my friends saw me. And they started beeping their horn at me, waving at me, trying to get my attention. And they said when they drove up to the side of me, because I wasn't paying any attention to them, they drove up beside me. They were looking in my window because they were right there. And they said my eyes were closed and I was driving.
Oh, my goodness. That's scary.
That day, I found myself an hour and a half past my house in another city.
Holy crap.
And that was crazy, but I have a lot of missing time. It even happened when I was with her one time. She was following me.
I was driving behind her. 10 minutes later from when she was supposed to turn left, I call her. She's all like, I missed it, didn't I? Go, yes, you did. So, you know, at least they can send somebody that knows how to drive.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Shirley MacLaine movie.
Out on a Limb.
Out on a Limb, where she's driving down a mountain and she couldn't see, so they said, let go of the wheel, let go of the wheel. And she did. And someone else drove down the mountain. So it's like, Shirley, take the wheel.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this is my question. What do they want? Like, why are they abducting people? And like, is this good or bad?
Well, both.
Okay.
From my experience, because when we came together, it became a whole bunch of experiences, but they're neither good or bad regarding what they hope for us. As much as what comes out on YouTube and other channels and stuff that they talk about. The ones that I've been in, because I also am an extraterrestrial myself, and I'm very renegade. I'm considered very reckless because I'm not into management. I don't like the management. I don't like the councils. I prefer alliances with different. There's so many of them.
There's the workshop we did.
There's not a numerical. There's not a number. There's so many councils out there. There are ones that are really, really the bad guys that come here and they abduct people and do create. They do horrific experiments, worse than a human doctor doing on a dog or a cat.
Eisenhower, one of the presidents, had made a pact with the extraterrestrials. So for not the good ones.
So for a certain number of humans, they could come in and do that. Area 51, which was believed to have extraterrestrial, that's a big experimentation spot.
And they got tech for it.
They have the high tech. Area 51 is old school. Now they have it's known as Area 52, but there's a couple of others over there, which we actually lived. My whole life story it's pretty interesting. So my dad in the 80s, early 80s, around 82 or 81, had gotten a job just coming here fresh off the boat for the U.S. government to mine crystals, a certain crystal that they use for the spaceship type, so it won't burn up on re-entry, supposedly from space, right? So we had to cross. We lived in Northrop Wells, which is 10 minutes away from Death Valley, and you can see like the Salt Lake mines and all that, where they did a lot of atomic testing. They still do it, but there was just Area 51, and they're definitely underground, because we stopped one time because we had a flat tire, and two big black Jeeps came up, and they said to my dad, "Get out, you need to leave." They watched him because he was actually changing the tire, but it's scary out there. The stuff that's out there between skinwalkers, extraterrestrials, there's a lot of bad ones out there. If you go up, you can find the information of what they've put out there, which is Project Blue Book, which details over 150 different species. Eisenhower had a lot to do with allowing the government to give all these extraterrestrials all this leeway. His wife was another one that was highly involved with all the black projects, and just a whole bunch of creepy stuff.
Oh, and by the way, Bigfoot, the reason they've never been able to catch Bigfoot is an extraterrestrial. They slide in and out of dimensions. I got to talk to
Clifford Mahoney, he passed away. And he was the last remaining Zuni elder and medicine man that they excommunicated him because he released medicinal chants that are at such a high frequency that they cure just about everything because of the vibration. So yeah, we talked to him, and he actually lived in the Four Corners. He had a cabin there. He would exchange things with the Bigfoot that was there. The Bigfoot there that he got to spend a lot of time with through the years that he lived there loved Reese's Pieces peanut butter cups. So he would bring him that, and the Bigfoot in return would bring him half of a deer or whatever he caught as an exchange. Zunis are the Zuni tribe, and just about any other tribe in the Four Corners are very connected to extraterrestrials. You also have the Hopi. He kept in contact with a few of the ones that were on their last leg, pretty much. I don't know how to say that. Or they're about to pass away. And they started releasing a lot of these prophecies. That's why it's more accessible now regarding that. Anything else you want to add to that?
Wow.
I don't think we have enough time for this one.
There's so many things.
So if you have more questions, please.
I have a million questions. I don't know where to start. That's where my brain is. I guess I want to understand, like, I want to understand what the point is. Like, are they protecting us? Are they studying us?
Okay,
are they what is the
there's good extraterrestrial and bad extraterrestrials, and the bad extraterrestrials actually come from the reptilians way back when. There was a extraterrestrial reptilian. Okay, so there was a war up in the sky which blew up a planet, and they were looking to try to Tiamuk, and what they were doing is they lost their atmosphere. So they were looking for gold to try to find the atmosphere. And Anu, another extraterrestrial, came down. He was a rogue.
He was the father of the Anunnaki. He had two sons, Enlil and Enki.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And so he came down, and he found Earth. He found that he could breathe on Earth, and that there was actually gold. He found gold. So they brought the rest of the Anunnaki, and that's where Enlil and Enki had come down, which were the sons of the king. And they came down, and Anu was not a good extraterrestrial. but they wanted to mine the gold. So there's been all sorts of things that they've found in Africa that they've drilled down hundreds and hundreds of feet, a perfect cylinder, and that's where the Anunnaki were also getting the gold, and we can't do that. There's no way we can do that with our tech.
Wow.
Same thing with Tartaria. Whole nother thing. You know, they're trying to say that with like Tartaria, some of the buildings that you see here in Florida, in in even like DeLand, the university there, in St. Augustine, all the fancy, you know, the university there, and all these things you see in Europe. They're trying to say that in the early 1900s, that somebody with a horse and a carriage
and a chisel
and a hammer built those.
Yeah.
Going back to that.
I think we have a lot. I think we have a lot
Okay,
of that
so
where we don't really know what happened.
I
Well,
think,
it was caused by a reset.
I think that the three of us plus whomever is watching this, we all have connections up there. I don't think they're all evil. I think there's a lot of them that are pacifists. They want to do it the peaceful way. Some of them through watching us, because we've been told that, they've come to not just like but want to help humanity, because there's a lot of red tape, just like there is here in this.
There is so much politics up there. It's not
yeah,
funny.
so I constantly, basically I tell them to go fly off a mountain, because they're killing human, which I understand it's a simulation, because I've had the experience of the simulation since I was very, very little, before I had my first NDE. And I can tell you about the time traveling and stuff, but we want to condense it to just your question right now.
We've done a lot of lectures on on that stuff, and the movie, the series with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, The Matrix.
The Matrix.
So we did The Matrix. I found some other stuff on just weird stuff, like this guy parked his little hatchback in a tree overnight, grew through his car, just like a whole bunch of stuff. We've seen where planes are frozen overhead and didn't move for 2 hours. Twice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But going back to the question, it's a lifelong question that I've always wondered too since a little kid. Are they good? Are they bad? Do they want to hurt us? I do know one thing for sure. Besides that, I think a lot of them are good. They really don't want the fight. They don't want the bloodshed. They don't want the experimentation. However, they have formed alliances and they signed treaties in their own way. I do believe that we've been sent here by way of them to protect the earth, because I have known since my early 20s that Earth is a big gateway and portal. It's like the main planet that everybody is fighting for. It's that one territory.
It's like a huge bus station where everybody could go through the different portals. Because honestly, the NASA is a fraud, and we've done lectures on that too. Again, whole nother story. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to. But what I'm trying to say is the only way off this planet is through a portal.
Yeah.
Those spaceships. They aren't going anywhere.
Yeah. So. You know, the NDEs, I think, are a way of us coming back, but more enlightened and more stronger. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Literally, in our case, who's had NDEs and those who have near NDEs, I do believe it's a different trajectory that we all follow. I think that I've met some really evil extraterrestrials, and because my frequency is so high and I have my entourage that's also in a different frequency, that they try to mess with me. I've been abducted when I was little at around 8, and then again when I was 19 by an extraterrestrial. All I saw was black eyes. And then I've been in a bunch of car accidents through not my fault, but basically like they were trying to either dismantle me physically, kill me, and then I came back stronger. You know, it's like those head conks made my gift more amplified. I think that we're going to have more interactions with our own lineage up there. I do think that we do descend from a lot of that high frequency DNA. And
we also do past lives with extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
We were doing a lecture on extraterrestrials, and it was kind of funny because we were talking about the RH negative and all that and different things, and I noticed that when we were in there, I started seeing the people in the audience. I started seeing their extraterrestrial bodies,
Oh wow.
which is really
that's
kind of
neat.
funny
That's
because
neat.
there's so many different kinds. You know, there's the
Mhm.
Palladians, there's the Arcturians, and you've got the Greys and the tall, beautiful ones, and it's kind of funny. And I was kind of laughing at some of the ones I see because we all think we're like these beautiful, beautiful, you know, tall Arcturians and things like that, and that's not always the case because I looked at her
Mhm.
and I started to bust out laughing because what I saw was something that looked like Predator, you know, with the thing in it, and she was laughing. So this thing was going like this, and I was laughing at her, and she was this big, tall thing, and that's, you know, she's very rogue, and she gets herself in trouble in dreams, and I have to go save her all the time.
Oh, that's another quick one too. We've been in each other's dreams where she goes and pulls me out of where I'm not supposed to be at, first of all, but
Mm.
there's really bad, the
Yeah.
really evil archetype of the extraterrestrial,
Yeah.
the aliens that take humans. They take humanoid beings. There's so many planets out there. They
Yeah.
take them to one specific place. It's like the Area of 51, but times
Yeah.
X. And I go there and I obliterate them. And then when I get in trouble, she comes in and, you know, in the dream, and then we
They
wake
come
up.
in and
I'm
say
all
we
like,
bring her
I'm
out.
not supposed to be there, right? She goes, no. So yeah.
And the funny thing is for everybody that's here, it's like it's hard to tell what is real because is this reality or is what we do in our dreams reality? Because I'll tell you, it's a whole heck of a lot more unusual and interesting and more involved. Going back to the secret space program, and one of the things more recent, I got in a big argument with her about it in the middle of the night because I woke up and I was fighting with her in this dream, and it turned out that when I calmed myself down and I started thinking about it, it was a mask dream. Now, mask dreams are something that they do to hide what's really happening in your dream. And I found out I'd gotten pulled back into the secret space program, and I was actually underground in like a big, you know, like cave kind of tunnel thing. I'm not sure how many people are aware of the DUMBs, and those are deep underground military bases. And also, there's a whole world down there that most people don't know because there's Inner Earth, which is, you know, a cross between. They have one part of Inner Earth that is dinosaur, actually like dinosaurs, like Journey to the Center of the Earth, and there's another part that's like crystal castles, and it's so evolved and so
awesome.
advanced. And the thing is most people don't even have a clue. But when they talk about Admiral Byrd, and he had gone down into Inner Earth, and you know they were actually going down there to, you know, try to cause problems, and they kicked his butt and sent him back up and said, "Stay out of here." And that's why they have Antarctica all closed up.
Yeah, because those the beings that were already there were actually very peaceful. They welcomed him. Because I actually got to see one of these darknet websites back in my 20s before the internet really started taking off. And I read part of his journal where he talks about that he went during down in these caverns, and then they started to change, and he was greeted by these extraterrestrial tall beings. Some of them were short, and then all of a sudden they started ordering other submarines to go in there, like calling all the reserves and stuff to take over that land. And you know, and unbeknownst to them, it's such a different and harsh terrain, not to the extraterrestrials that were already there, but to humans. It's basically like Siberia, but worse.
Yeah.
So they did not fare very well. A lot of dead bodies. They let him go. They released him, so he could give them a big warning of not to
stay away. And the same thing with the moon. Again, another whole thing. It's actually a satellite. It's not a planet, and they've never been there.
That's why it's.
Or they may have went there, and then they told them get off, because it was a ship, and that's what holds the magnetism, and that's why we're changing right now, because that's starting to lose its magnetism on us, and we're shifting back. But that's another story.
Wow.
Wait, she has questions.
Yeah, but when
she has questions, she has so many questions.
I do. I have a lot of questions, but we're like out of time.
Oh no! Oh my goodness.
I really do have like a million questions. I don't know. Like, okay, let's stop here. and let's do it again, and I'll come with questions. Like,
Okay.
I will write out questions next time, and we'll just go through the questions. We have to head to the after show, but fascinating. Like, I can't even, like, my brain is like, I don't know what to do, because my head doesn't do this normally.
Yeah, and you just got the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I can see that. It's very obvious, actually. Okay. So let's head over to the after show. Thank you for doing
so
this.
welcome.
Thank you for being here. I'm so, like,
Oh,
mind
and
blown.
can we say something? So one thing that really didn't come out is we
Yeah.
are psychics.
Yes, and I wanted to
we
talk
actually,
about all of that. So
we
do you have an offer? Let's talk about your offer.
Yeah, so we actually read together. So when you get read by both of us at the same
So
time.
it's a
Which
15-minute
is
reading.
cool. Okay.
It's a dual reading.
Okay.
It's $65 for 15 minutes.
But you get so much
Okay.
information.
You get so much, and we also, because I come from a long line of astrologers, like the old school astrologers, so we also do the natal charts, we do progressive charts. I also specialize in the ley lines, as does she. So it's the energetic
I'm
lines and
so
points.
fascinated.
And the astrology chart is a full-blown chart of everything. It's actually a 28-page report, so you get so much information. And then we could, afterwards, if you need an extra reading, we do that. In the ley lines, it actually shows where you are good at something or where you can really benefit, because there are energetic lines that cross, and when they cross, there's different parts of the United States that they cross in. And one may be where you need to live for love. Maybe one's where you need to live for finances, and it like amplifies it a million times.
Yeah.
And if you want a reading or something from us, we have a website, which is Psychicks111111.
I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna put that in the comments right now.
Yeah.
And then
Psychicks1111.com.
And then our email is the same thing, psychicks1111@gmail.com.
If you want a reading or something like that,
yeah,
or a chart.
I don't have that written down, but what is it?
It's Psychicks.
Yeah, PSYCHICKS
Okay.
1111 at gmail.com.
Okay.
And we also have a YouTube channel.
That is how you guys can reach them. On the replay in the show notes, I will put all of your information and your offer and all of the things. Thank you so much. Like, I am totally gonna bring you back. I'm totally going to ask you 100 questions.
Yeah, that's fine. We just need to answer the remaining 98. So
yeah, we may have to talk for a good 2 hours so you know all the things that we talk about.
I know, right? Okay, so let's leave here. We'll see everybody at the after show that's coming, and we will have you back. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yes,
thank you. And blessings.
Bye.
Thank
you,
you,
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.